Have you ever looked into the mirror, felt the lines of time on your face, and thought, maybe those days of love and passion are behind me? If so, I want you to stop right there. Because what I'm about to share with you may change how you see yourself and your capacity for intimacy forever. Hi, I'm Dr. Jonathan Hale. After decades of researching emotional intimacy, aging, and human sexuality, I've come to a simple but profound truth. Sex does not expire with age. Desire doesn't vanish just because the calendar pages turn. And more importantly, the need for closeness, affection, and touch only grows deeper as we get older. But sadly, most of us have been fed a dangerous lie. Myth number 1, sex is for the young. This is perhaps the most damaging myth of all, that intimacy belongs only to the young, the beautiful, the physically perfect. Magazines, movies, social media, they bombard us with images of passion wrapped in wrinkle-free skin and youthful curves. But what they never show is the quiet hand-holding between a couple in their 70s, the tender goodney. Let me be very clear. Your sexuality doesn't disappear with age at E. What once was about heat and hormones can transform into something far deeper: connection, trust, emotional bonding, and yes, even pleasure. Myth number 2, the body isn't capable anymore. I've heard this one countless times from my older clients. My body just doesn't work like it used to. Or worse. I don't want to embarrass myself. Let me tell you something from a medical and emotional perspective. Yes, the body changes. But that doesn't mean it's broken. It just means you need to meet it where it is now with patience, understanding, and curiosity. You don't need to perform like you did in your 30s. You don't need acrobatics. What you need is presence. A willingness to explore pleasure slowly. And above all, a partner who sees you, all of you, and meets you there with love. Touch doesn't become less valuable with age. In fact, for many, it becomes more sacred. Myth number 3, I'm too old to start again. This one hurts the most. Because it's not just about sex, it's about hope. A 73-year-old woman once told me, I buried my last kiss with my husband. That was it for me. But 6 months later, she met someone, a widower, who saw in her the same spark she had long hidden away. They started slow. Holding hands. Talking for hours. One evening, while slow dancing in the kitchen, he kissed her. She wept. Not from sadness, but from the awakening of something she thought had died. It hadn't. It was only waiting. You are never too old to love. Never too old to be touched. Never too old to begin again. What the science actually says. Let me share a small sliver of research, not to overwhelm you with statistics, but to remind you that this isn't just poetic, it's real. A study from the University of Manchester found that nearly 50% of men and 30% of women over 70 are still sexually active. According to the National Poll on Healthy Aging, University of Michigan, 76% of people aged 65 to 80 say sex is important to their relationship. Even more fascinating, those who remain sexually active often report better emotional health, stronger bonds, and a greater sense of purpose. So if the body still desires, if the heart still beats for connection, and if the brain still seeks pleasure, why are we shaming it into silence? Where the shame comes from? Many older adults grew up in an era when sex was either taboo or purely functional. You may have been taught to suppress desire, especially as a woman. Or perhaps you were told that once you hit 60, the topic of sex becomes inappropriate. Let me offer a new lens. Sexuality is not shameful. Touch is not a privilege, it's a basic human need. Desire doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the living. You are still living. So your desires are still valid. The emotional core of senior intimacy. In our youth, sex often centers around excitement, curiosity, and sometimes, let's be honest, ego. But in later life, it becomes something profoundly more tender. Here's what I've observed in my years of counseling older couples. Intimacy becomes slower but richer. The chase turns into companionship. The pressure to impress fades, and what's left is the desire to connect. Imagine this. Two people in their 70s, sitting on a porch, fingers laced together. The sun sets. They don't rush. There's no pretense. When they go inside and hold each other, that's intimacy. It may lead to sex. It may not. But the energy between them? It's sacred. It's alive. And it belongs to them just as it can still belong to you. An invitation to reclaim yourself. So let me ask you. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel sexy? Not in a magazine cover way but in your bones. In your soul. When was the last time you touched your own skin with reverence instead of shame? This video series is not here to tell you what you should do. It's here to invite you back to yourself. To remember that you are still worthy of desire. That your body, no matter its age, is still capable of pleasure. That your heart, even if broken once or twice, still knows how to love. Closing reflection, what's next? In part 2, I'll share a powerful true story, a 72-year-old couple who hadn't touched in decades, and how they found their way back to each other not just sexually, but emotionally. Their story isn't rare. It could be yours. And I want you to hear it, because maybe just maybe it will awaken something sleeping inside you. Until then, touch your own hand tonight. Feel its warmth. That, my friend, is the beginning. See you in part 2. Sex after 70, the shocking truth about senior passion reignited. Part 2, the silence between us, a story of rediscovery. Hello again, dear friends. I'm Dr. Jonathan Hale, and if you're here for part 2, it means something stirred in you from our last conversation. Maybe a quiet hope. Maybe a question long buried. Maybe the realization that even after decades of living, something tender still whispers inside you. I want to feel loved again. Today, I want to share a story not just to move you, but to awaken you. Because this isn't just about sex. It's about the silence that can settle between two people, and the courage it takes to break it. Meet Walter and Grace, 49 years together, and miles apart. Walter and Grace were married in 1973. He was a quiet, hard-working man, the kind who believed love was best shown by putting food on the table. She was gentle, expressive, and carried love in the way she made his coffee always just right. They had 3 kids. Built a life. Laughed. Argued. Survived loss. Celebrated weddings. Watched grandkids be born. But somewhere in their late 60s, the laughter faded. They still lived under the same roof, ate at the same table, even went to church together on Sundays. But at night, they slept back to back. No arguments. No affection. Just silence. For almost 10 years, they had not made love. Not because they didn't care but because life got in the way. Illness. Medications. Tired bodies. Embarrassment. And that deep-rooted belief. Maybe that part of us is over. The quiet ache of emotional loneliness. What Walter and Grace were experiencing is something I call emotional starvation, a slow, quiet fading of connection that no one talks about. They weren't fighting. They weren't angry. They were just lonely, beside each other. Walter once said in my office, "I don't think she needs me anymore." Grace said in a separate session, "I miss the way he used to look at me. I don't even think he sees me now." They didn't need a miracle. They didn't need a pill. What they needed was permission to reconnect. The turning point, a letter never meant to be read. It started with an assignment I gave them separately. I asked each of them to write a letter beginning with the words, "If I could tell you one truth, it would be." Grace wrote hers late at night. Walter wrote his sitting in the garage. When they returned to my office the following week, I gently asked if they were ready to share. They hesitated. Then nodded. Grace read first. "If I could tell you one truth, it would be that I miss your hands. I miss your eyes. I miss being your wife not just on paper, but in body and soul. I miss you." Walter, eyes red, read his. "If I could tell you one truth, it would be that I'm afraid. I'm afraid you don't want me anymore. Afraid I'm too old. Too soft. Too slow. I don't know how to touch you the way I used to. But I still want to." There were no dry eyes that day. Not theirs. Not mine. That letter, that tiny act of vulnerability, reopened the door to something beautiful. Rediscovering each other, one step at a time. I didn't send them home with rules. I sent them home with one assignment. Hold hands tonight. That's it. They came back a week later glowing. Grace said, he held my hand during a movie, and didn't let go. Walter smiled, I didn't want to. Over the next months, they rebuilt their connection not with pressure or expectation, but with tenderness. A back rub became their new ritual. They took slow walks, touching fingers like teenagers. They rediscovered kissing not rushed, but intentional. And yes, intimacy returned. Not in the way it had once been, but in a way that fit their now softened bodies and wiser hearts. What older love really looks like. There's something sacred about rediscovered love, especially in older age. Because it's not just about physical pleasure. It's about being seen again. Grace told me, for the first time in years, I felt beautiful again. Walter said, when she touched me, I didn't feel old. I felt real. This is the truth no one tells you. Sex after 70 is not dead, it is deeper. It is slower. It is filled with meaning. No rush. No performance. Just presence. Why this matters for you. If you're watching this, perhaps you too are Walter. Or Grace. Maybe your marriage has gone quiet. Maybe you're single and afraid it's too late. Maybe you're holding a story inside you that's begging to be heard. So let me speak now to you. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not foolish for still wanting to be touched. To be held. To be kissed slowly in the dark. Love is not limited by age. It's only limited by fear. 3 practical invitations for reconnection. Whether you're in a relationship or not, here are 3 simple things you can begin doing today. 1. Use the power of memory. Close your eyes. Remember a time you felt loved, desired, touched. Write it down. Revisit it. Let your body remember what it once knew. 2. Touch without expectation. Whether it's holding hands, a warm hug, or brushing someone's hair, touch matters. Start small. Consistent. Let it awaken your senses again. 3. Speak the truth. If you're in a relationship, say one honest sentence today. It doesn't have to be poetic. Just real. Try. I miss you. Can we lie down together, just for a while? I still think you're beautiful. Words break silence. And silence is the only real killer of intimacy. Final reflection, what love can still become. Walter and Grace are now 76 and 74. They still nap on opposite ends of the couch. They still bicker over what to watch on TV. But now, every night, they kiss goodnight. And once in a while when no one's watching they dance in the kitchen, barefoot. That, my friend, is intimacy. That is love. And that is entirely possible for you, too. In part 3. Next time, I'll share the psychological traps that often stop older adults from seeking intimacy and how to break free. We'll talk about guilt, grief, religion, trauma, and how to reclaim your body and desire with pride. You won't want to miss it. Until then, I invite you tonight not to seek sex, but to seek connection. Start there. The rest will come. You are worthy of love. Still. Part 3, Breaking the Chains, Reclaiming Sexual Dignity in Later Life. Welcome back, dear friends. I'm Dr. Jonathan Hale, and today we arrive at the heart of our journey together. If you've stayed with me through parts 1 and 2, then you've already taken the first and hardest step. You've dared to believe that intimacy after 70 isn't over. Not only that, you've begun to see that it might actually be more profound than ever before. But now we must confront what keeps so many people frozen. It's not age. It's not the body. It's something far deeper, and more invisible. Guilt. Trauma. Shame. Religion. Regret. Silence. These are the quiet chains wrapped around so many older hearts, chains we must now break, together. The ghosts that haunt the bedroom. You see, the greatest obstacle to sexual intimacy in older age isn't a medical issue. It's psychological baggage. Invisible weights we've carried for decades, often without realizing it. Let's name them. 1. The guilt of religious conditioning. Many of my clients grew up with beliefs that sex is sinful, dirty, or only for procreation. They were taught to feel shame for wanting, especially women. One 74-year-old woman told me, even now, when I feel aroused, I say a prayer of apology in my head. Think about that. This woman survived cancer. She buried her parents. She raised 3 kids. But her desire, her most human, beautiful longing still feels like something to be ashamed of. To her and to you, if you carry similar guilt, I say, desire is not a sin. It is a sign of life. Your body is not shameful. It is sacred. And if you are a person of faith, remember, love was never meant to feel like punishment. To the pain of past trauma. Many older adults carry wounds from earlier abuse, betrayal, or abandonment. For some, a partner's affair 30 years ago still echoes in the bedroom. For others, it's unspoken childhood trauma that was never healed. Let me tell you this gently. Trauma does not expire with time. But it can be healed even now. Especially now. Therapy. Honest conversations. Safe touch. Loving patience. These are tools of liberation. If someone violated your body or your trust, that was never your fault. And reclaiming your pleasure is not a betrayal of the past, it's an act of courageous survival. 3. The shame of the aging body. This one hurts the most. I've met women who turn off the lights before undressing even when they're alone. Men who avoid mirrors because they no longer recognize their own reflection. Wrinkles. Sagging. Dryness. Weak erections. Lost flexibility. These things feel like barriers. But let me offer a new lens. Aging bodies are not broken. They are softened. Weathered. Wise. Intimacy after 70 isn't about performance, it's about presence. No rush. No pressure. Just 2 people, showing up exactly as they are. Walter, whom I mentioned in part 2, once said, I stopped worrying about how I looked the moment she touched me, like I was still worth touching. If someone sees your body with love, believe them. And if no one is there yet, then start by seeing yourself with love. Relearning how to be touched. Here's something I've discovered in my research. Many older adults don't stop craving touch, they simply forget how to receive it. So let's relearn. Start with these 3 practices. 1. The hand test. Hold your own hand slowly, gently. Explore your fingers. The lines. The warmth. Can you feel comfort, just from yourself? This is not foolish. It is the beginning of reconnection. 2. Mirror affirmation. Stand before a mirror. Fully clothed, or not. Look yourself in the eyes and say, this body has carried me through a lifetime. I honor it. I forgive it. I reclaim it. Even once a week. It matters. 3. Non-sexual physical contact. Start with slow, intentional hugs. Long eye contact. Sitting side by side, touching shoulders. Rebuild trust not just with a partner, but with yourself. You are allowed to feel again. Dating and desire in your 70s and beyond. Let's talk about something people often whisper about but rarely address head-on. What if I'm single, but still desire sex and love? First, you are not weird. You are human. Many older adults find themselves single again through divorce, widowhood, or simply never having married. And the idea of dating at 70, 80, even 90, can feel terrifying. But I've seen it happen beautifully. Online dating for seniors is real. Yes, there are risks, but also possibilities. Community centers, hobby groups, spiritual gatherings, all are ripe with potential connections. What matters is not where you find someone, but how open your heart is to being found. And if love doesn't arrive, you are still enough. You are still worthy. You can still explore your body, your pleasure, your emotional richness. This is not about needing someone. It's about giving yourself permission. When sex isn't possible, intimacy still is. For some, health conditions make intercourse difficult or impossible. That's okay. That's real. But remember, sex is only one form of intimacy. There is magic in kissing, slow caresses, cuddling under blankets, storytelling in bed, shared laughter during a movie, holding each other during a storm. Sometimes, the most powerful intimacy is non-sexual. It's about connection, not climax. What the research tells us. Studies show that seniors who remain sexually and emotionally connected experience lower rates of depression, better sleep, higher self-esteem, reduced cognitive decline, stronger immune systems, longer life expectancy. Yes, pleasure is medicine. Connection is therapy. And love even in your twilight years is a form of spiritual nourishment. Final message, you are not done. If I could leave you with one message, it would be this. You are not done. Your body is not done. Your heart is not done. Whether you're widowed, divorced, alone, or in a long but quiet marriage, you still carry within you the capacity for love, touch, pleasure, and joy. Let no voice internal or external convince you otherwise. A quiet invitation. Tonight, when the house goes quiet, and the world settles, I invite you to lie back. Close your eyes. Place a hand over your chest. And whisper, I am still here. I am still worthy. And I still believe in love. Because believing in love even now is the most radical act of hope there is. Thank you for walking this journey with me. From one researcher's heart to yours. I see you. I honor you. I'm rooting for you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning, again.